What's up, guys? Mark back here with another video, and I am here with Eric Rossi from the Eye with the Guy with the Eye channel. And what we decided to talk about on this particular episode was what we're looking forward to in the year 2016. I had just one request, and that was pretty much the successor to the Sony a6000.
Yep.
And what did you have, Eric? I forget.
I mean, pretty much it's going to run into just Nikon releasing some kind of mirrorless full frame camera for 2016.
I thought they already did that, though. I mean, I thought that what was it? The
Mirrorless
on F5 or something?
No, those are junk. But like, you know how there was the whole rumor with everything with the Samsung line being bought out by Nikon and everything like that?
Right.
An actual full frame mirrorless type camera, not the junky J5s, J1 V1s, all that kind of stuff. An actual full frame system. I think that's the next step for a Nikon market competing with Sony. And I think that's what a lot of these companies have to do in this field. I think the DSLR market will be fine. I just think there's got to be a little bit differentiation with both.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll just go ahead and I'll start with what I was looking forward to, and that was the successor to the Sony a6000. And I had a couple of basic requirements that I would personally like to see included in this new camera. And the first being a genuine, honest to God, capacitive touchscreen.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I mean, we pretty much get used to it nowadays with smartphones and everything of that nature. And I always thought that it was like a vanity feature, but I just think as we're getting used to it, it's almost essential, kind of. I think so, at this point
as well. I mean, it's hard to skimp on a screen these days, and not just resolution of your screen either. I mean, I'm used to, a 5.5-inch touchscreen where I can not only tap to focus, but every single menu item on that screen is touch able as well. So I don't think that if Sony attempts it, that they should go anything less than a full on like cell phone touchscreen. Don't just give me tap to focus. I want to be able to dive into those menus. Those menus are fucking complicated on the Sony systems.
100%.
A lot of options on there. I want to see a full touchscreen.
No, it'd be nice. And that's one of Nikon's drawbacks with their D500 and everything. You're limited to just focus. Like, what is that?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's an interesting cutback that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's software based anyway. So, I mean, if you can manage to figure out that a tap means this is where I would like to focus, why can't you figure out a tap is like, I want to go to that part of the menu system?
No, it'd be nice. I don't know. One big thing, and my whole thing is, you're using Sony for almost a reason. Yes, it's lighter, it's mirrorless, but yes, people are obviously using Sony for photography and stills, but a lot of people who buy into Sony are using it for video. And the one thing that totally baffled my mind was the fact that they didn't have any kind of audio input for the Sony a6000. They need some kind of mic input for the a7000 or whatever it's going to be, or I'll just be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, audio, whether it be listening to or recording, it's not just a pro feature anymore. I mean, there are a lot of people that do a lot of video work, whether it be YouTube, vlogging, selfies, whatever the case may be, and they record audio. I mean, you can't have a good video without audio. And Rode has made it extremely easy with, the Video Mic Me so that you can do it on your phone and all that kind of stuff. Everything. But at this point, like, that tech is so old. I mean, it's ridiculously old. It's a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. Like, the tech's been around for decades. There's no reason not to include it in every single camera that's ever produced at this point.
I agree, 100%. And that's just the cutbacks that I think are very interesting. But I think that Sony did it to keep their cost of the a6000 low, which I think will be the issue with this camera. I made a video about it, just thinking about what it could be. But we'll tackle price in a minute. But what else would you like to see before we kind of get into the?
I would love to see them reposition that SD card position. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
What's up with that?
That is the most awkward place to keep.
Yeah, no. Putting it underneath the battery is just weird and crazy. I mean,
you have to turn it around backwards to get it.
It's not even like that. You know how many times I almost got stuck because of that?
Yeah, because it happens to me all the time too.
But going off of that, I think one of the things they really need to do, and it is 2016, is to have some kind of dual card system. I don't need CFast. I don't need anything. SD cards are fine, but you need two nowadays. I mean, I guess you don't need it. It's not necessarily a vanity feature, but having that backup option, I think, is key. Now,
especially considering how many people are actually using the A6000 in a professional capacity, myself included.
Yeah.
Just being able to record it in two different places, just in case something crazy, wacky, something doesn't go right with that one card. At least I've got it in another location. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you should just upgrade, to a more professional camera. But at the same time, I mean, I know that there are several full frame models currently on the market that do not offer that feature. They still only have the one card slot.
Yeah, and once again, that went back to that discussion we had, like what defines pro cameras and everything like that. That's not necessarily the case. Pro gear, you can, cards corrupt, cards fail. It's not necessarily the camera. It's the cards at times too. They just go. They're pins. Every time you take it in and take it out, you're decreasing the life on the things.
Absolutely. Well, I was just going to say too that, and the fact that, just having that backup, whether you're a pro or not, let's just say that you've got family photos or, pictures of your babies or, just whatever. They did something amazing and then, you dropped it accidentally and it ruined one of the cars. Just having that little extra
peace of mind
of security, just that little extra slice of security. It means so much. So I don't necessarily think that it should be limited just to a pro feature, but I mean, I may be nitpicking at this point. I may be even a slight bit unrealistic, but they need, in my opinion, to just go ahead and give it to everybody because I think a lot of people would appreciate it.
I agree 100%. I don't know. There are other things like 4K video and everything, of course, that this should have. It's 2016. But another one of, my quick things is that the screen. Now, I've grown towards a tilt screen. I still think it could be a vanity feature that you're paying a couple $100s for, but I have grown to like it more. As you don't have to lay on the damn ground to do things or whatever, touch the focus on anything. It just makes things more, easily done in street photography and everything. But it has to be articulating. It has to be able to come out to the side. It has to match the Panasonic line. Enough of this selfie screen, enough of the limited ribbon you have. It has to be articulating completely. So it's just better.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that I know that for the more pro bodies or whatever, they want to limit access as far as like dust and moisture and debris and all that other kind of stuff. But technology, by definition, is supposed to enhance and make easier my life. And I 100% appreciate being able to get a low perspective shot while not having to lay my gut in the dust, the dirt, the cold, wet ground, and all that kind of stuff. There's no reason why they can't put something like that on every single camera. It's just, it has entirely too much utility, in my opinion.
No, I 100% agree. I don't. What's another one thing that you would say? Is there anything else that you would want that is really leaping out to you?
The only other big major thing that Sony can do in general, this doesn't even necessarily have to apply to the Sony A6000 successor, is they really need to focus more on not releasing a new camera body every 6 months, but working out their lens tech. We need an expanded lens line, really. Now, it is 100% feasible to just go ahead and buy their $300 adapter and adapt A-mount lenses and stuff like that. But it would be nice to have native crop sensor lenses that they have, especially like a 24-70 2.8 or the 70-200 2.8. F4 is fine. It's totally cool. I'm perfectly fine with F4, but it would just be nice to have that extra stop and a half or so when you're going into very poorly lit reception halls and old churches and stuff like that. The extra stop of light makes all the difference in the world between having to swap to a prime lens or something like that and then maintaining your lens on your camera body and making sure that you get all the shots you're supposed to.
No, I 100% agree. But, one of the biggest problems, a lot of people say, all right, well, everyone who really buys into this has some kind of other system. I have the Nikon series lines of lenses, but the problem is Metabones sucks with Nikon lenses. Like, you still don't have everything that you need to get it done.
And I don't necessarily think that's Metabones' fault either. Just
no.
Out there.
In general, I'm not attacking them. Honestly, they've done great stuff, especially with Canon. Holy hell, very innovative. That has helped out a lot.
I think it's actually Nikon's fault. I think they are not sharing their autofocus tech.
Yeah, stupid Nikon. Thank you. And I get it for competitive advantage, but the problem is when Sony makes lenses, they are a little bit pricey, and you can say that about anything in photography. But with Sony, you know, we were talking about patents on the 28-70, right? It was 20-70 or something like that. F2.8
released or published a patent for a 24-70 2.0.
Okay, that's right.
That they had patented.
That's right. But the problem with that is that it's going to cost $2,000 or more. And that's the bad part. And that's why Sony isn't fully winning the game. Their lens line, like we mentioned, isn't that great. They do have great stuff. The Nikon 30 that you could use, or the Sony 30 millimeter macro or 35 millimeter, you know, but they're like $300, $400. But like, if they can adapt the Nikon or Canon thing, when you have a 51.8 for $120,
right?
That's how you win. That is what they need to do. It's great to have full frame lenses, these Batis and everything, but you're selling a $600 Sony a6000 right now, which could easily be $800 brand new, and people would still buy it. Mm-hmm. But you don't have the proper crop lenses for it, and you shouldn't need adapters. You shouldn't need to buy these $300, $400 things just to use your other lenses. It would be great. There's no need for it if Sony wants to win, in my opinion.
And as far as price is concerned, well, I do believe that the successor will probably still be a DX sensor body, and that I'm totally cool with that. But if they genuinely try to go down the D500 route and it ends up being
that's what I think,
$1,800, $2,000,
I'm done.
Buy it. I swear to God, I'll just turn around and buy like 2 or 3 more of the Sony a6000s and continue on shooting that way, or I'll just go like an A7S Mark II, because I need more video, and I think for the vast majority of the work that I do, 12 megapixels is going to be just fine. I mean, I'm not printing out poster sizes anyway,
but you still could anyway. It doesn't matter. There's software that helps you with that. And that's the problem. They are so successful with the A6000 because, and we talked about it before, at Christmas, they were $350. So they are targeting the consumer market, obviously, and they're doing very well. Pro photographers, prosumers are even buying this camera. It's $600 right now, brand new. Once again, if it was $800, people would still buy it. I'd say it's very, very justified. But the problem is, if this new, 7,000, whatever they're going to call it, is $1,200, $1,300, they're not targeting the right market, and they would be going down the 500 route. Like you said, it needs to be $800.
Yeah, and I think that if they can get the price down to that point, I think they're going to have a winner on their hands. Yep. I don't know if they're going to be able to meet that mark, depending on how much they manage to cram in there.
Of course.
And if they end up going with 5-axis in-body image stabilization, I think that'll probably jack the price up a little bit.
Yeah.
But as long as they keep it under that $1,000 mark, I'm going to be totally fine with it. So,
because I even think I would upgrade, and that's not, any fault of this A6000. I love it. Do I use it every day? No, but I love it for street stuff. Mm-hmm. But just having that extra thing, I can still sell that thing for maybe $450 and pay almost half of what this should cost.
Absolutely.
It would be an easy upgrade, especially with 4K and everything that we already talked about. But it needs to be priced right. Enough of this BS.
And I'm totally stoked for it. So, now you're still a Nikon shooter primarily.
Yep.
So what are you actually looking forward to in 2016?
So in 2016, there was going to be a lot of things. There's obviously the Canon 5D Mark IV, which is rumored to be announced either at the end of February or March. You're going to have the Canon 1DX2 or whatever, which is being announced in a week or two. So there's all that stuff. You have the 500 D5, but the thing I guess I'm most excited about, or that I think really needs to happen, and we touched upon this a little bit, was that there was the rumor that Nikon bought out Samsung's mirrorless full frame line. And it turns out that necessarily wasn't the case, or didn't really fully happen or anything like that. the thing that I think I'm excited for, and Canon has been putting out patents and really trying to develop it and leaking things, of putting out a full frame mirrorless camera. Not this cruddy Nikon J1, J5 systems or anything, but an actual full frame A7R2 competitor in regards to the Nikon line. If you can adapt the Nikon lenses to this thing, it will be killer. And maybe it won't happen in 2016, maybe early 2017, but I think that one thing I would really look forward to is that. And you're already versed in the system. I already have the Nikon line of things. I would just go full in with that because they already have everything built in, kind of. And it seems like,
to be honest with you, I hope that they do. But because Sony kind of got in on the mirrorless market, they actually saw the potential and didn't just treat it as like some sort of consumer fad like Nikon did. That now Nikon almost has a vested interest in not going mirrorless, because really the only other competition that they have right now is Canon with the DSLRs. But if they got into the mirrorless line, then they would have competition from two sides. And I think Sony in sales would probably crush them, but I think for the Nikon users, had they released something that was feature rich and capable on a mirrorless level a year ago when I swapped to Sony, I would probably still be with Nikon right now.
But that's the problem. A lot of these brands, you're always behind. They don't always innovate. And that's why Sony, like you said, Sony jumped out there. But I think that's what needs to happen. I think Nikon needs to release, or Canon or whatever, but one of those big other brands, I don't say big brands, needs to release some kind of full frame camera this year.
So if Nikon was going to release a full frame mirrorless camera, what would you actually want to see in it? Like like, I know there's not much out there to compare to. Again, we have to go back to my brand, which is Sony. Do you want to see it like a megapixel beast like the A7R? Would you rather see it have a nice balance between maybe say like 24 to 30 megapixels and still be able to do some maybe super or would you prefer it to be more like an A7S Mark II where it's got low megapixel count, good enough for stills that are going to be printed in most regular sizes, 8x10 and below, maybe something like that? I mean, which direction would you like to see them go if they actually develop one?
100% the A7S route, lower megapixels. If you give me 18 to 20 megapixels, I'm blown away. If you want to give me 12, once again, I have owned the Ds. I used to own the D700 for 3 years at this point, and I loved the workflow of 12 megapixels. So anything between 12 and 20 is fantastic. 16 to 20 would be ideal, I guess, now in 2016, just to get a little bit more depth with it. Sure. But with that, it has to do 4K. It can't be any of this janky 4K where you're getting these 3-minute clips and overheating all this kind of stuff. You really need to, hit that out of the park. You need to keep your audio jacks. You have to have two card system that you, like we were saying in your video on your channel, and however we're cutting this up, but it needs to have two kind of SD cards, or probably CFast at that point, because I think Nikon's pushing, or CFast is pushing into the market a lot more because it's getting a little bit more affordable for people. I hope that they don't use XQD cards. God damn, do not use those cards. I don't want them. They're too expensive.
I think they're going to end up replacing SD cards, though, and I'd say that they probably
will.
Or I'd say they probably only have about another year left before they fully and completely take over. Now, I still think there's going to be plenty of places for SD cards, but for anyone looking to kind of stay on the bleeding edge, XQD is probably going to overtake SD in a matter of, I don't know, I'm going to say 8 to 12 months, honestly.
Well, we will have this on record to see if you were right or wrong by the end of the year or so. Yeah. But you just need that. I'm not asking for much. The 4K video would be nice. Is it essential? Absolutely not. But if you're going to pay $2,000, $2,500 for something like this, which is, I think it would have to be, but you could still mount your Nikon current lenses, your F mounts and everything. I think that's what you would need. And I think that's something that is crucial for Nikon to stay more competitive with everything. It's just kind of stagnant to me. I mean, these D500s might sell. They may or may not. It seems like they will. They were a little bit overpriced.
Sure.
For being a crop sensor camera, but people will go crazy over it. The D5 is only for the D4S users out there who just upgrade just to do it, just to have the newest tech. But there needs to be something else out in the market unless Sony can get their shit together to get a better lens line, or they can adapt more lenses to it. I don't know. That's what I think. Nikon really kind of needs to do something, or Canon. I'm agnostic at this point. Canon can do something too.
I got to be honest. I think that if it hadn't been for the ability to adapt either old film lenses or adapt just legacy glass in general to the Sony line, I don't think that it would have done as well as it has. But just giving people the option to compensate for the flange distance and all that has really kind of pushed Sony in a very unique spot.
True.
In proprietary systems compete with themselves really because they have this closed architecture that they don't want anyone else to have access to, because they've invested so much money in R&D and tech and all that kind of stuff that they don't want anyone else using all the fruits of their labor. So Nikon's in kind of a tough spot, really.
We'll see. We'll see. That's what makes it interesting. But for something exciting for me to happen in 2016, there's not much to get me left. There's lenses that'll come out. There's these new 5D Mark IVs and all whatever. Cool. They're the typical stuff. It's got to be something different to really get me excited.
Absolutely.
That's all.
I agree. I mean, we've seen so much progress here in the last 12 to 18 months that it's taken a lot more to make me go, holy shit, that is amazing.
Yep.
And so they really going to have to bring their A game, or I'm just going to be like, sorry guys, I'm still not impressed.
We shall see.
So for all you guys that are watching, we'd like to hear what you all are anticipating and hopeful for in the year 2016. So don't forget to drop your comments down in the comment section below and let us know what you all would like to see. And if you disagree with us or agree with us, please let us know as well. And if you like the video, thumbs it up. And if you don't like it, thumbs this shit down.
It helps either way.
It does. It totally helps either way. I'm totally cool with you hating my guts and thumbs down in my videos. I don't care.
Just be constructive. That's all. Just be constructive. Engage. Let's have fun with it. Don't be a prick.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So thanks again for stopping here and watching both myself and Eric Rossi.
Yep. Check the links down in the description below as well to check out both of our channels. We talk about a lot of fun stuff. Photo, tech, fun stuff. There's some stuff that we have on recording that there's a story that Mr. Puckett told.
Yeah, well, he's not sharing that. He's full of shit. At any rate, guys, thanks again for stopping here and joining us on yet another episode. We'll see you guys again on the next one.
Out.